Hey guys, welcome to the Soul on Fire show. This is Noelle Agape and Bri Gallagher. We are leading experts in health, wellness, and consciousness. And we are here today to talk about you and your identity. And I am super, super excited for today's show because we're going to dive deep into the emotional body, which is my favorite place to be. Thank you so much for everyone that is watching live. And thank you for everyone that is watching replay. I almost said replay.
We can call it that, the replay. I like that.
That's hilarious. So hi Bri, how are you? I miss you. It's been a few weeks that we've been together, and you're still in LA. You're coming down to San Diego soon, but I miss you. How are things in LA?
Amazing. It's a little chilly for me, not gonna lie. Got down to like 60. I'm like, what's happening? But no, I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I miss you too. It's been like 2 weeks apart now. It feels so weird after being so close for so long, but it's good. It's good.
I know it really has. It's been good. We've been productive even though we've been apart, right? So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Super excited today. Today we're going to go deep into the emotional body, and we're going to talk about your identity. We're going to talk about archetypes and the different archetypes that your soul comes in and longs to actually achieve. It's this beautiful gift that you have an inner knowing of your soul's purpose. We're going to talk about getting to your soul's purpose. We're going to talk about your destiny and your karma and your dharma. We're going to go deep. So Bri, let's talk a little bit about destiny before I go deep into the archetypes. Let's talk about your destiny and your soul's purpose and how you kind of feel that pull, right? You've always known you were supposed to be on TV, right? And so have I. And I've always known that I'm supposed to use my voice to change and impact millions. What were some things that just little clues that knew you were supposed to be doing, like your soul's purpose?
Well, you know what's funny for me when I think about when you say you always knew you were meant to be on TV is like I know now, but it's so funny when I think back to when I was a kid. Like I hated being on camera. It was the weirdest thing, and it's been a journey for me to really get comfortable in front of the camera. Like even right now, like I feel like I'm getting better. You've seen like getting me more comfortable and confident, but I think it's more of like my message. Like I really want my message to get out there. I like being on camera, but it wasn't always something that was really natural to me. But the fact of knowing that's how I'm going to get my message across to more people that's my inner knowing, my inner calling, right? But it's so funny when I think of when I was a kid, and my uncle would always come around with the video camera. He was always the one like recording us when we were kids and stuff. And my sister would come and just do these little interviews with him and talk for like hours about like everything. And I would be in the corner screaming and crying like, no, don't put me on camera. I don't know how. It's just so funny how over time things change. But yeah, I think for me, it wasn't so much of like necessarily loving to be on camera always, but I've learned to love it because of what it means, like what it's going to allow me to do.
Agreed. And I think I was the same too. Like I really didn't always shine. I love to shine. And I think that the more I used my voice, the more I understood the message that I had to bring and empowering. So let's talk about identity, because this is really, really important. I mean, this is our core of what we're talking about today, right? We're going to go into the archetypes of the warrior, the healer, the visionary, and the teacher, and how that looks in the next segment. But right now, let's lead into like your identity and how I started out, right? I did everything right. Everyone told me I needed to go to grad school. Everyone told me I needed to graduate and be a counselor and do the right thing. And I was like a really good girl. And I went to grad school and I got married and I married the right person. And I had this certain identity that I had attached myself to for very many years. And from that space, my soul was like, no. Like everybody wants me here, but that's not what I feel like in my soul. I didn't feel it at all. I felt very burdened. I loved helping people and I loved being a counselor, but I felt like this pull, like, no. I'm supposed to do something bigger. And so then from there, I went into the health and wellness aspect of it. And we'll give you an opportunity to tell your story as well. But I went into the health and wellness aspect because my dad died, my grandfather died, my mom got cancer. And so I was like, I have to be the healer, right? I went from the warrior of overcoming my past traumas of sexual abuse and all this, an alcoholic father. I was the warrior and I was so like, I'm going to do everything right. And then I went into the healer and I was like, I have to heal everybody, right? And then I felt this enabling ability to heal people. And then from there, I was like, no, but I have such a big vision. I want to change the world. I want to help humanity. And then I stopped and I paused and I was like, wait, and that's when I went into neurolinguistics and learned to be an NLP master trainer and then in the quantum world. And that's when I knew my job was a teacher, right? That's when I leaned back and I was like, wow, like this is my soul. I'm supposed to teach. Like I'm supposed to teach in front of the masses. So I have this ability. But I had to go through the warrior. I had to go through the healer. I had to go through the visionary to get to my soul, where it was like, I'm locked in, like this feels good. Like I'm happy in every area of my life. And that was a journey. And even the journey in love, which we'll talk about in the next segment, of where I, was married and then I was someone's wife and then I was a single mom. And now I have to like reprogram myself to be married again. Let's talk about identity and your story too. Let's let everybody in the world hear your story, because it's such a beautiful story. But as soon as I knew that I was a teacher, it was so easy. It was just perfect. It was, nothing's ever perfect, but it just felt good. It felt right. Every time I push play, it feels right. It feels fun. It feels exciting and easy. The rest of the journey was like, oh my God, like, it was so torturous to my soul. So let's talk a little bit about that and yours and in your journey getting there.
Well, it's funny. Mine is like the complete opposite of yours, right? You did everything the right way. And I was just like, I'm doing everything my way. Like, I don't care what's the right way. Like, I'm not doing that. I refuse to be kind of put in this box. I never really, like, I went to college for like most of it, but I really just didn't enjoy it. I was kind of off being this party girl in South Beach and doing my thing. And I did kind of get tied into that world a little too much. For whoever doesn't know my story, I literally worked at like Hooters all through college in Miami. I was like partying in South Beach, having so much fun. I did go to school, like my degree was international business, but again, I wasn't really drawn to school. I didn't have any plan to go like right out of college and get a job. That was never something that like even crossed my mind. I had a friend who was like moving out to LA to pursue some acting, modeling type stuff. And I said, that sounds great. Let me go do that. So moved out to LA, like kind of dabbled in that for a little bit. And again, got back into the service industry, got into the nightclub industry, like actually making a lot of money just serving champagne. This very like alternate universe that most people don't even know is a thing, but it was so opposite from like what everyone's taught to do, like what you did, right? So my identity became wrapped around being this fun, pretty party girl. I would always go out and have a good time, and I was always in that scene, and like there was no future in that for me. I was like, I can't just be doing this forever. I need to find my next move. And it continues, and I got into other things and into my entrepreneurial journey of where I am now. But same thing, like it's so much changes over time, and you have to get to a point where you realize this isn't the mold I want to fit into anymore. I have choice to step into my next role, whatever feels more aligned with me. And I just knew, I said, if I continue down this path, it's not going to end well. Like I need to step into my power. I need to do the next thing. And for me, that next thing ended up being real estate, which was kind of my first entrepreneurial thing, and learned a lot from that about what not to do. That's how it works. You have to start somewhere. So, but yeah, did that answer the question of just, well, should I keep going? Or
Well, how did it feel when you were in those roles, right? When I was a counselor, I knew I was helping people and it felt really, really amazing and good. But the second that it was the defining moment, and this is what I'll ask you the same thing. The defining moment in my career was when I was working with beautiful kids with special needs that had emotional disorders. And it was incredible that I was helping them, but I got punched in the face and a desk thrown at me. And it was like this craziness happened all in a short amount of time. And I just stopped and I said, I am never doing that again, ever. And I quit my job, and it was, I was working in the schools. It was a 6-figure job because I came right out of grad school and had 5 job offerings. I did everything right. And then I started my entrepreneur journey, and I had no idea what the hell to do, but it was the craziest journey of my life. But it was the greatest gift over the last 10 years of what truly now I found my home with my soul. Right. And so how about you?
Yeah, same. When I think about the amount of times now that I've like started over completely, I packed up, I left LA. I said, I'm not going to work in the nightclubs anymore. I got to find my own path. I was literally living in one of my best friends, Louise, back in Miami. She grew up in Miami. So her mom still had a house there, and we moved into the front part of her mom's house, and we were kind of like her tenants, and we were keeping the house up for her. So we were back living at mom's house at like 30 years old. We were both right around 30, and she had just finished law school, and we're both in this very transitional phase of like, what are we doing next? So I remember we're like hanging out in her mom's house, studying for our real estate exam together. Just like that was one of the points that it was like, okay, starting something brand new. But again, it just felt more aligned. I knew I had to put the work in now for whatever it was going to turn into later, right? So yeah, just
Yeah. And so let's talk about the soul's journey, right? And so I mean, those that don't know me, I'm an NLP master trainer and a quantum energy trainer, and I talk deep spirituality and you talk health and wellness, right? And so we've merged the two. And so we are going to talk a little bit about the body and the identity with your body later on in the next segment. Actually, in just a minute or so, but let's talk about you, like the soul's journey, right? So soul contracts are you come in and your soul says, okay, these are the lessons that I want to learn along the way. And then your sacral contracts is your destiny, right? And this is, I feel with my soul, I know this is my destiny, right? I know that when Oprah's ready, she can pass the mic to me, right? I say that all the time. And that's exactly how I feel in my soul. But along the journey was the lesson of self-worth, the lessons of, of empowerment, the lessons of not being someone else's wife, the lessons of not being the co-pilot, right? Let's talk about that, because that was a big thing for me. I did amazing in the co-pilot. I've always done really, really well. I always worked really hard to get really good grades. Even though I had a learning disability, I've worked really hard at relationships, even though I was sexually abused, right? And had a crazy ass childhood. So I've worked really, really hard, but that actually even became really heavy on me too. Like the heavy doing became really hard for me. And what I realized was when I stepped into my divine feminine and when I stepped into my soul's purpose and when I'm leaning back and when I'm just being me, it's the easiest journey, right?
Yeah, no, and it's so funny because we kind of joked about this when you first asked me to be on the show, and I was like, I've always kind of felt deep down like I was meant to be on TV, and I've kind of dabbled in a way, like there was two different almost like reality show type pilots I've done in the past. One was like,
I think there's 3.
Have they done 3 total? Oh yeah, with ours, yeah, ours is 3. But before meeting you, I had done 2, and so it's funny because one of them was like when I was the LA party girl, but I was also kind of getting into the real estate scene. So it was a group of us that were like kind of doing like luxury rentals in the Hollywood Hills, right? And so that was the first one that we kind of did a little pilot, didn't really work out. And back then I really wasn't comfortable on camera either. And I hadn't done a lot of this kind of stuff. I was just kind of like winging it. That didn't turn into anything. Second one was with my ex. And, we talk about the enabling, like obviously, how much I can relate to that. We've talked about this on past episodes. And I very much fall into that role of wanting to take care of and support and not noticing, but enabling everyone around me. And a lot of that has to do with my upbringing and being around a lot of addiction and all that kind of stuff too. But so yeah, my ex was filming a reality show because he has an amazing story of just where he came from and what he'd gone through. So someone approached him to do a show, and this is when we were living.
So I'm going to pause for a minute. So who's your ex? So just you don't have to say his name. You don't have to say his name, but he was a pro and
he was when I met him, he had been retired from the NBA for like almost 15 years. So we were about 15 years apart in age. I think he'd been retired for 12 years at that point. He's an amazing human with a huge heart. I love him to death till this day. But we had our own journeys, and I think we came to each other's lives for reasons, soul contracts, to learn lessons from one another. And he does have an incredible story of just where he came from, what he became, and then struggling with Parkinson's disease at a very young age. He got diagnosed when he was 34. And it was just a really interesting journey going through that together with him and watching what he was going through. So someone came around and was filming a reality show about that at the time, and so I was getting to kind of be in it but kind of not, and that brought up a lot of emotions because that was really towards the end of our relationship where there was just a lot going on and we were kind of going our own separate ways. And so there were certain times they were interviewing me and I would just start crying on camera, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I think the reason I'm talking about all this is because my reason, I think that I always say, I joke about this a lot to all my friends. I goes, oh, he's meant to have a reality show. Like, I'm just so ridiculous. Why is this not on camera? And you spend time with me. Like, I'm just such a raw, ridiculous human being. I think that's what makes me so unique. And people like to see that authenticity, and sometimes I'm a little bit too much for some people. But
I think that's both. You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or not, but you're breaking up a little bit. So I don't know if we were both breaking up or if you were breaking up a little bit. But your hero's journey, and the reason why I brought that up Bri, is because we've all had a hero's journey, but it's led you here, right? And so what were some of the identities that you had to let go of? Because I know that I had to let go of, I had to let go of the victim. Huge for me. I had to let go of the victim was a big one. I had to let go of, I had to let go, and taking accountability for my actions. I had to let go of the empath or the healer, right? Because that was, then I all of a sudden was attracting all these people that I was healing because I went into the healing mode. And then I had to let go of like all of my degrees and all of that stuff, because when you work in the quantum world, that's wonderful and amazing. And that gives people, it validates me in society, but it really had nothing to do with the quantum world or being on TV or anything. Right. So what are some of the identities that you had to let go of?
Oh yeah. Am I breaking up still, or do I sound okay now?
You're a little fuzzy with your video, but you're
or why that is. But if you can hear me okay, I'll just keep going. Sounds okay?
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear.
Yeah, I mean, the same, with me with the enabling, that's the healer in me, right? Like I definitely, and I'm learning to let this go more and more, but I always want to fix everybody. I'm the fixer. I come along and like all of my past relationships with men, especially, it's been that way where I come in and I'm like, oh, let me fix you. It's like, no, let me fix me first, right? Let me work on me. And then, oops, that's going a little, do you hear me? Is that coming from me or you? Okay.
I was testing to see if you were because we're live right now. So we're live TV. No, go ahead.
Sound okay? Because it was actually a little
bit. You good. Keep going. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so just that enabling with a lot of my past relationships, and a big realization was, okay, like I got to heal me before I can heal anybody else, right? We got to learn it's okay to put ourselves first. That's actually what we're supposed to do, because you can't help others if you can't help yourself. So definitely the healer. And then what was the next one I was going to say? The other one that you said, what was the second one you said?
Well, I said the warrior, the victim, there was many that I have gone through. Mine's really a hero's journey. And it was, I swear my soul came in and it was like, I'm just going to battle society. I'm going to battle my anxiety. And I had to kind of let go of that. And I remember the moment where I said, you're completely frozen right now. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
My Wi-Fi seems to be good, but yeah, continue. I can hear.
So I remember the moment where I said, I was so in the warrior that I was like, I'm going to lay down my weapon. And my weapon was the victim, right? And it was being a single mom. And it was all of the things that were holding me back from my growth, right? And so I laid down my weapon, and I promise you that within maybe 24 to 48 hours, I got this offer for the TV show, right? And it was, and there you are, instantly, you're back. And that's how the quantum works, guys, just like that. So what was your weapon of defense? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you said, I never really thought of myself as someone who played the victim, really, because I was always kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but I just never really put myself in that category. But the way that you just described it, and just really not taking responsibility for yourself, this has been coming up for me a lot in the last week, especially, is that I always just put myself in this place of oh, I can just kind of float along. I'm always going to get taken care of. My looks and my personality and just being around the right people is always going to carry me through. But I'm like, no, when am I going to step into my own and oh, hi, Amy. When am I going to step into my own power and really prove that I can do this on my own? I don't need to rely on others. That was a huge realization for me, and it still is. And even where I'm at in my life right now, I'm not even close to where I want to be, but it's just showing me so much more that I'm not living up to my full potential, and I know that I can, and I will.
And we are a work in progress. And I say this all the time. If you're so much in your ego that you think that you don't have work. I mean, I have all of my freaking degrees and all of my 20 years of history, and I still have a coach, and I'm still a student in some time. So if you think in any time that you're in your ego that you don't need work, then you have a lot more work to do than you realize. Because if you're still in a human body, you still have work to do. And so I think the biggest thing with that you said was so powerful, because you said, understanding that someone else was not going to take care of me, right? So I was in the role of, I always needed to take care of other people, and understanding that you could do it your own. And there's been times along our journey over the last 6 months where I'm like, no, you're going to do this. I'm not going to do it for you. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because it goes both ways, right? Is that I still like to take care of people in other ways. I'm such a nurturer, and I love to take care of people in that sense. But then it's almost like, okay, in return, I expect you to take care of me financially. That's just always been the way that it's been. And I'm like, that needs to stop. Like, that's not okay anymore, you know? So that's a big realization for sure.
So let's talk about that, and that's the next segment that I want to talk about is eventually we're going to talk about working with the energies and working with the mind and the body and then moving into a different identity, right? And you have to be a different person to be a different person. You have to act like a different person. You have to eat like a different person. You have to work out. You have to mind, body, soul, and spirit, right? And so on that journey, right, the health component, I don't know why, but the health component's always been, I've been super healthy my entire life. Then my dad died and my grandfather got sick and my mom got cancer. And that's when I went like full blown, like crazy healthy person. Right. and that's when I went into the health and wellness. But you know, to transform, you have to make change. You can't hold on to the same identity that you had. You can't hold on to the archetype that you really think that you are. And so the best way to do this, in one quick life hack, guys, is just scan every area of your life and go through the archetypes and see where you are. Where am I the warrior in this place, right? Do I need to be the warrior right now? Do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? How am I the healer? Am I trying to heal somebody, or am I trying to fix them, or am I trying to fix me, right? And because relationships are mirrors. Or the visionary, where you're constantly thinking of things but you're not acting, right? And that's such a huge component. Finally getting to the teacher, right? When you have mastered something so much in your life that you can teach, but at the same time you're a teacher, you're always the student, right? You always have to lean back. So let's talk about breaking the identity. When one of the hardest identities I had to break in my entire life was that people saw me because I did everything that they wanted me to do. I went and I became a counselor. And then when I left my business, when I left a secure job as a counselor and went to an entrepreneur, that was probably the biggest identity that I've ever had to break in my entire life, was owning the identity or the archetype or whatever it is of the entrepreneur, but letting go of my past, right? And even so, of letting go of small things like my maiden name, right? I still legally have my ex-husband's name, and I'm moving it into my new name, but I kept it for my kids, right? So how the emotional journey and the physical journey of actually breaking through a different identity, what does that look like?
Well, I think it looks different for everyone. You just kind of explained your story. For me, again, it was that whole, like, even to this day, like a lot of my, like if I'm doing something like for a business and I want to talk to one of my old friends who like associates me as this party girl, and I'm like, but no, I want to be taken seriously now as a businesswoman. Like, I have this idea or this business thing I want to present to you. It's really hard for me to kind of just even step into that role enough to feel confident. And that's what it is, right? When you do anything long enough, you build that confidence and you feel better about it. But it's a journey to get there. And I'm still on that journey in so many ways. And obviously you've been on your entrepreneur journey for so much longer that I think you're feeling a lot more confident in it. And that just happens with time and with years and experience. So that's a big thing, is just trying, for me, having people take me more seriously as a business person, as an entrepreneur, rather than just that old fun party girl they used to know me as, you know?
I love that. And I think that it's interesting because there's been moments where, you have, I think both of us, we're the fairy party going, like not in a bad way. Like, we're always going to play. We're always going to have fun. And I think with you and I, it's amazing. We have this amazing gift when life is a shit show, we just like laugh, like literally, right? We really do. And I think that's why we do so well with it. And so one of the things that when I went through the dark night of my soul, the one thing that kept me going, the only thing, it was my kids too. My kids were my angels, but truly it was just this inner fire within me that was like, I kept hearing every day, just keep going, just keep going. And, I wake up, I do the work, I meditate, I eat healthy, I do everything right still. And I still have things come up in the dark night of the soul, right? Because that's your soul's journey. We're here to experience and expand, right? And so through the expansion process, raw and real, guys, when you're going through expansion, and I call it growth spurts, it is not an easy journey, but it is a conscious choice every single day to be better. It is a conscious choice to say, for 30 days, I'm not going to be the party girl, and I'm not going to drink alcohol or something like that, right? And so every day you and I wake up and we make conscious choices to be better every single day, right? So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to go into the mind-body connection with your identity and how energetically we also have to detach from that and tap into new energies and really recreate ourselves, right? When we're recreating ourselves from a place of needing change, that's where your power is, right? And so guys, we're going to take a quick commercial. Our retreat is coming up in June, from June 1st to June 6th. And our show today is sponsored by our retreat, our Tulum retreat. Just here's a quick tip of what you guys are going to get and what you're going to see. Join us on our retreat. It's such an amazing gift that we get to give to you. And we're super, super excited. That's what today's show is sponsored by our retreat. It's Soul on Fire Retreat Tulum. So we will be right back, guys. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here on the live, and thank you for being on the replay. We are the Soul on Fire Show, and I am Noelle Agape, and this is Bri Gallagher, and we are leading experts in health, wellness, and consciousness. We appreciate you guys so much, and we are so grateful to have you here. Thank you. Today, we are seriously going deep, deep, deep into our identity. We're going into the archetype of the warrior, the healer, the visionary, and the trainer. I'm the teacher. Same. We're going to talk a little bit before we get into the mind-body connection about how each one looks in balance and out of balance. And I think that's really, really important, because I think both you and I, Bri, have gone through each of these stages to get to where we are as the teacher, right? And when the warrior is in balance, that's actually not a bad energy, because that's when you're in the darkness and you have to get through the light, right? And you and I have this inner light that we shine through so much, and we get through things. We really do. We just, I don't know how, but we just figure, like we are always solution based, right? So the warrior, let's go into the archetypes a little bit, and then we're going to talk about making the mind-body connection and dropping the identities and the archetypes of the mind-body connection. But let's start with the warrior and how that looks like balanced and not balanced, right? So the warrior, when it's balanced, think of like Archangel Michael, right? He's a warrior. He's a spiritual warrior, and he comes in and he's the divine masculine energies. This is just an energy and an archetype that I'm talking about, guys. And he'll protect you, and he'll take care of you, and he'll save the people that need to be saved, not rescue, just to rescue. The wounded warrior looks like the victim. The wounded warrior looks like, I'm going to save somebody to save myself, right? And so that's the first one. And then, so the healer, let's talk about that, right? Bri, what do you think the wounded healer looks like in its power? And then the wounded healer, the empowered healer, or the wounded healer? Because this journey is, like I said, these are the 4 archetypes that your soul connects to, and we'll go on the journey of one of the 4. Yet, if it's balanced, that's your soul's journey. So maybe talk about a little bit about the warrior, and then also the healer too.
Well, for the healer, when I think of in the power, it's like you're teaching. You're healing people through the power of your words, through kind of sharing your experience of what you've been through, and that's what empowers people, right? Is being able to kind of walk in their shoes. So if you're doing the opposite, if you're healing people from this place of like, things aren't feeling like you haven't gone through it, so you're not really where you need to be. So you're almost dragging people down. You're trying to heal them, but it's like you said, it's this kind of you're really trying to heal yourself deep down. So it's like it's off balance, right? So yeah. And then with the well, you can touch more on that, because I feel like that's more your specialty. You keep going.
Yes, no, well, I mean, that was perfect, actually, what you just said. And so the healer, when the wounded healer looks like, I'm going to heal you because there's something within me that needs to heal. And when you understand that life is just a mirror, whether it's you or whether it's Bob down the street or the mailman or an intimate relationship, life is a mirror to you. You actually can be your own inner healer. And that's the healer that's in the power, right? The empathic person that truly, truly understands people and heals through words, heals through love, heals through kindness, but doesn't do it in a sense like of the narcissistic healer, right? I'm going to heal you because then my life will be better, right? And so if the healer without the ego is such a powerful role, right? And we are all healers in our own right, but the wounded healer looks like someone that's broken, right? Or the person that they're trying to fix is broken, or they're emanating out that they're broken themselves.
Yeah, it's
right?
a lot of just like projection. Like what I need to fix, I'm gonna try to fix it in you, but in reality, I can't fix you until I fix me, right?
I love that. I love that so much. And so before we go to the visionary and the teacher, let's touch about a little bit about your thoughts on the warrior and the wounded warrior and the empowered warrior, right? Because I think that we are all, especially in today's society, that when we're in alignment, we all have an inner warrior within us, right? And that inner warrior is a good thing when it's in alignment. When it's not in alignment, it's chaos, right?
Yeah. Well, when I think of warrior, the first thing that comes to my mind is just I'm like warrior pose in yoga. It's just, it's just so empowering. And someone who truly is standing in their power, who has done the work to get there, who is just kind of you're emanating this like I want to say like omnipresence. Everyone wants to be around you, everyone wants to learn from you, and just there's just this presence about you, right? But when again it's the opposite, it's kind of like it's just an icky energy. People don't want to be around that. They feel it's almost like you're trying too hard, right? Like you're claiming to be this warrior, but deep down you haven't done the work to get there, and people feel that and they sense that, and it's inauthentic, and it's like it's just not something people really want to be around.
I love that you said icky energy. It is. And so that is true. The wounded warrior looks like the victim, right? 100%. The wounded warrior is, I'm saving you to save me, right? And it's usually people that were abused when they were younger and haven't come to grips with it. And I mean, look at the difference between someone, I had a crazy ass shit show, childhood and a beautiful childhood at the same time. It was like kind of this manic childhood. But there was a moment in my life where I was in the wounded warrior, right? And it's like, that's when you're trying to like claim your power upon the world. And you're like what's the right word? But you're like pushing your power onto the world as opposed to like
forcing.
Yeah. That agreed. And so let's talk about the visionary, because the visionary is such a beautiful role, because it's the visionaries are the Albert Einsteins, the Oprahs, the Deepoks, the people that change humanity. Steve Jobs, right? I mean, look at Steve Jobs is the ultimate, Nelson Mandela, right? I mean, there's so many beautiful visionaries in this world. And if we didn't have visionaries, the world wouldn't have expansion. But the visionary that's broken, right? Let's talk about the visionary. They're not broken. No one's ever broken. The wounded visionary is the wounded artist, right? Or the person that the starving artist just doesn't know their worth, that doesn't know their power, that doesn't know how to bring their ideas to light, that doesn't take action, right? But does a lot of things, but doesn't do anything, right?
It's just like misguided, right? Like they have good intentions, they have this amazing idea, like they believe that things are possible, but it's just without the proper guidance or direction, it's scattered energy. Nothing's really getting done. There's no action, like you said. And it's like, those are the people usually have the most potential. And it's like, it's sad sometimes to like watch it. And even with myself, like I was just saying, I know how much potential I have. And I've caught myself in that place sometimes of I feel like a visionary. I have so much I know I can offer and so many things I want to do, but why am I not doing them? And that's that action piece that needs to come into play, right?
Yeah, and I think the visionary without action is exactly what you said. It's this beautiful story that's really sad at times, right?
Yeah.
And it's just there are so many visionaries on this earth that can use their gifts to change humanity, and instead they it's really they don't feel worthy enough, right? And so the warrior is the victim, and the healer really is the martyr, right? It's let me heal you to heal me. I'm broken, and the visionary really truly is like the person that is in the empowered visionary changes lives. the one that's not really is, they're the energy of I'm not worthy enough. And there's incredible creativity, and that's the divine feminine that is not even tapped in. And everybody has masculine and feminine energies within us. Everyone knows that. But so the teacher is the final role, right? And this is such a beautiful role. So as the teacher, many know that how many times have you had a teacher that was insanely intelligent, but could not speak layman terms, right?
Yeah.
So
we know what you're saying. Like, tone it down a little. We don't.
Or the narcissistic teacher that just only teaches because it gives everybody gratification that they're the elitist, right? They're the ones that know more than everybody else. And it's the teacher that can't be the student, right? And so when the teacher is actually imbalanced, they understand that they have their moments of power when they're teaching, and they have their moments of, and it's never a weakness when you're in the student. Actually, it's so empowering when you're in the student, right? And so you and I are in this Grant Cardone group, and I just stopped and with all my experience and all of my stuff, I just pause and I say, okay, now I'm the student, right? And I have to be the student in that role. How can I teach people if I don't know and don't go through things and don't absorb things, right? And so again, if you're so and this is the wounded teacher is so egoic, and it is the narcissistic energy. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's especially something like the Grant Cardone group we're in, is everybody's coming from different places and different like not everyone even is an entrepreneur necessarily, but everybody came there to learn. That's the bottom line. It's a space where people came to learn and grow together. So regardless of where you're coming from or what your background is, it's like, okay, I'm going to step down off my whatever level I think I'm on, and just remember what I'm here for, regardless of where everyone else is at in their journey. We're all here for the same purpose. And I just want to take it all in. And just like you said, there's a time and a place for everything. And so sometimes, and you were just telling me a story the other day of one of your friends who was used to being the keynote speaker, and then you kind of had to say to him, like, no, today you're going to get a 15-minute slot, and then you're going to be a student the rest of the time. And you said at the end,
I didn't like that at all.
At the end, you said he thanked you, and he was so grateful, and he was like, wow, that's what I needed to hear. And I needed that kind of like slap in the face to be like, okay, it's okay to step down sometimes and lower my ego and just enjoy the moment and be the student and take it all in. And it's like we're always saying, you're always going to be both. It's never going to be a moment in time where you're like, okay, I'm done learning, I'm only the teacher now, or I'm always going to be the student. And eventually you're going to want to step into the teacher role. So it's kind of, you go back and forth always. Switch.
I love that so much. And for me, I have this, and you do too, we have like this insatiable gift of learning. Like, I love learning. And so to be in the empowered teacher, I learn from life. Like, I mean, I'm kind of, I'm a little bit silly in some ways, but everything teaches me, right? In many ways, right? In many ways. So, but I'm like, okay, God, how is this teaching me today? What are we, how am I going to learn today? Because I get to teach tomorrow, right? And that's how I feel as a teacher. I truly learn every day so I can teach tomorrow. And when I go through something, and the reason why we're having this show, and the reason why we're having, all of the things that we are having, is because of the life that I have lived and I've learned and been a student, and how many opportunities, business, personal, relationship, intimate, would have been missed if I wasn't a student in that moment, right? I think you're frozen, Bri. So I'm not sure what's going on with Bri right now, but we are going to take a quick commercial. Hopefully she'll get back on, and then we're going to talk about moving into your energetic self, the mind-body connection. We're going to talk about dropping your identity from your mind-body connection. We're going to talk about who you are and how to empower your new version of you. We're going to talk about all of those things when we come back, guys. Stay tuned, because we got a lot more show for you. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on the Soul on Fire show with Bri and I. We are here today talking about identity and understanding the archetypes of moving into your soul's purpose and who you are, and truly understanding when you have to let go of an identity and truly move into a new version of yourself. What we talked about was the warrior when it's wounded and when it is and it's empowered, the healer, the visionary, and the teacher in the previous segments. Bri, let's talk now about the mind-body connection. And first of all, with the body, first of all, with the mind, first of all, with belief system. And then I'll talk a little bit about moving into the energy of and your soul's purpose of what it looks like when you have an identity, how you have to break it out of that identity, the steps that you have to actually do, tangible things that can give our viewers really, truly change in their life.
Yeah, well, it's like you were saying before. It comes down to the discipline of, okay, if I'm completely changing from one person to another, that means I'm changing everything. I'm changing my daily habits, my daily routines. Like, for example, if I'm going to be someone who's moving out of this party girl role and into a more serious business person, I can't be drinking every day. I can't be going to happy hour every day. It's a complete lifestyle change, and that's a decision you have to make. And it's like anything in life, when you're moving into a different role and you're trying to change that identity, everything needs to change. It's not just like, oh, I'll make little gradual changes over time and hope that it works out. Like, you're committed, you're doing this, and you're like, these are the steps I'm taking. I need to cut out these things, and I'm going to start doing these new things every day. It's a big decision.
And that's amazing and perfect that you just said that. And let's talk about also the people and how the emotional body, right, of what happens with change and what literally the neurotransmitters and everything in your ego and your amygdala, you know this, right, related to the quantum immersion. So let's talk about the reticular activating system and how if it's programmed to be in a certain identity, then that's what it's going to keep showing up in your life, right?
Well, and so much of it is your surroundings. It's what you're putting yourself around. And we talk about this a lot, like when you're moving into the next level of your life and you're trying to make more money or move up to the next level in your business, you got to surround yourself with those people who are doing those same things and who are on that same level. If you're trying to make $100,000 a year and you're hanging around people who are making $20,000 a year, that's what's constantly in your sight, in your what's the word, in your reticular activating system. That's what you're seeing all the time. So that's what's going to continue to show up in your life. So you need to make a conscious decision to change your environment, change your surroundings, put those things in front of you that you want to emulate, that you want to be like, and then that's what you're going to start to become, right?
Exactly. And so let's talk about the emotional journey of change, right? And so that's the working with the physical. The physical is you have to change your environment. To change, you have to change your environment. If you want to lose weight, you have to change your diet. If you want, right? And so the physical parts of it are, for your body. Give some life hacks for your body about change.
Yeah, like right now, I'm staying with my sister right now in LA. We just got back from Tulum. We were like both like, oh my God, I need to do a serious diet detox when I get back. I was feeling a little gross. I had been on like a month-long, like just party mode, vacation every day, drink and eat whatever I want. So I got here and I said, look, it's time to make a change. Like, I know my body, I know myself. I need to get focused again. And that means mind, body, soul, everything. So getting up, like this morning I've been getting up around 7 on average this morning. I got up at 6:50 and I did yoga at 6:30 with Maddie. And like, it's just one of those things, you make a commitment, and that means getting up earlier, doing your whatever your morning routine is. Everybody's is different, but should include, writing down some type of goals, dreams, whatever you want, writing down something every morning in your journal, doing your meditation if that's what makes you feel good, doing a little bit of movement on your yoga mat or going for a walk, drinking more water, like eating the right foods, like starting your morning with a green juice or whatever it is. But it's the things that you're going to start doing, and doing them every single day is so important. It can't just be like, okay, I'll try it for one day and then bye. It's like you're going into this new place and you need to start acting like a new person.
Exactly. And so my suggestion before you start all of that is just from the emotional body is write down the identity that you have right now and write down how that's working out for you in your life on a scale from 1 to 10, right? And so in that space, go from, okay, well, this is the identity, right? And what is identity is it's just an archetype that your subconscious has decided that they've connected to, right? And so what's that identity? Write down everything about that identity. What do you like? What do you not like, right? And from that space, then you start to do the tangible stuff, right? Then you start to say, okay, this identity, I really don't like her anymore. Like, sorry, not sorry, but I swear, and this is not even kidding. This is for the viewers, and this is for you. You probably don't even know this. So I was Noelle Sincola, is my maiden name, right? And then I got married, and I was Noelle Malvin, and now I'm Noelle Agape. Noelle Sincola and Noelle Malvin, I literally in my meditation had a funeral for. Like I cremated them and I sprinkled them over the ocean. Like they're gone, they're dead. And then I moved into the energy of Noelle Agape, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I had to literally say, this is what Noelle Agape looks like, right? She is a TV host. She runs retreats around the world. She is happy. She is, she is love. She is light. She's promoting wellness. And I had to say, okay, I love Noelle Malvin. There are pieces of Noelle Malvin that I'm going to take with me. My kids, amazing. My soul, right? They're my soul. Noelle Sincola, my childhood, right? My family. I took the pieces that I wanted and then I changed into my identity. Then I did what you said. Then I was like, okay, came back from Tulum. I'm like, okay, clean eating, no alcohol. Neither one of us have had a sip of alcohol since Tulum.
No, that's a lie. I had sake the other night, just a little bit. So when I start my 30-day program in like 2 weeks or whenever it's starting, I'm doing 30 days clean, like not even cheating. So that's
and that's the thing. It's like you know 80-20. I say 80-20 all the time, right? But you have to change yourself. You have to change and so your thoughts become your beliefs, and your beliefs become your patterns, and your patterns become reality. Period. That's it, right? And so change your thoughts first, which means how do I feel about food? How do I feel about my body? How do I feel about my identity? How do I feel about my image? Scan everything. And I know this is where the work is hard, right? Change is not always an easy emotional journey. You just don't show up.
Actually, if it was, everybody would do it, right? That's the bottom line. And I love what you said about doing a little funeral in your mind. That's such a good
I was like, I love you. I'm going to sprinkle you over the ocean.
Yeah, like literally everybody at home do this. Like write out a list of all of the characteristics or all of the traits or the behaviors of this old version of you that you don't like anymore, and have a little visualization funeral in your mind of like, bye old me, and then hello to the new me, of the list of all the things that you do want, and you will start to create that. And it's all up to you. It's like she said, it's the things you start to do every day, but getting really clear on it by writing it down first and really visualizing it and connecting with the feeling, with the energy of it before it happens is so important too. So I'm glad you brought that up.
It really is. And that is, so you're priming, and this is, now we're going to go into the mind, right? So we talked about the physical things that you can do. Now we're going to go into the mind, because we mind hack for a living, right? We're unreal. That's what we do. We mind hack for a living. So your mind is malleable, right? But all of your belief systems, all of them are either energetic or they are in your neural net pathways, right? And so from 0 to 7, you have decided, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not safe, secure, and protected, I'm not whole and complete, or I'm not good enough, right? It's one of those 5 core beliefs that are in your brain when you're trying to make change. I'm not worthy of this. I'm not good enough. I'm not safe right now. Whoa, I don't feel safe in this identity. I'm not going to move into that. I don't feel whole and complete, right? I need something external before I can become this person, right? And
what's crazy is we don't realize always, sorry to cut you off, we don't realize which one it is, because it's so deep ingrained in us. And you got to start asking, like you did this with me when we were first working together. There's those questions that you ask and you dig really, really deep, and you go back to your childhood, and then you pinpoint it, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was
yeah. And so and this is where it gets real, guys. Where it gets really, really real, is the emotional decision that you make with change. Sometimes will overpower your choice, right? And so your emotions are literally there you feel, for the only 2 reasons why we have emotions are to experience and expand. And if you are not expanding, I promise your experience will be terrible. Period. Because your soul is here to expand. And so if you're not expanding to where you're supposed to expand to, different people, different circumstances, same lesson, it will keep showing up over and over and over again. And it's one of those 5 core beliefs. It is. And so do the work. The inner work comes with change. The inner work, you cannot become a different person, a different identity until you start doing the inner work, right? That's the mind part. So talk a little bit about that and how, I mean, for me, it's second nature, right? I've been studying this. I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's just second nature for me to do it. I go in and it's like a game to me, right? It really is a game to me. It's like, what do I have to do today? Okay, I have to become a different person, right? And so to most people, it's not, Bri. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about the emotional journey. Once you're doing the physical stuff, the emotional component behind change and changing your identity and getting rid of the old archetypes that are not serving you anymore.
Yeah. For me, it's about self-awareness. You know, even if you start to do the physical things and you're feeling better, but something inside you just still isn't feeling right, you have to be aware of that, and you have to say, okay, yes, maybe I'm doing like the workouts and I'm eating better and I'm whatever, but something still isn't aligning. Maybe I'm still drawing in like these terrible men or terrible relationships or whatever it is. There's something there that's still not in alignment with your highest self and who you're trying to become, right? So that's self-awareness of saying, okay, why am I still doing this? What part of me is still attracting that type of energy, and what can I do to fix it, right?
Beautiful, beautiful. That's it, right? And so it all starts with the observer, and you know that I'm so big with this, but it's, I mean, if someone was inside my house or even inside my head, they'd be like, she really is just a little loony, right? Because and so I live my life as the observer. I'm like, okay, what is life showing me? How do I feel right now in this moment? I think Bri is frozen again. So I'm just going to go to this. And so I say, how am I learning from this? What is this teaching me? How did I get triggered? Where is this an emotional anchor that I'm not finding within me? Oh, okay. What do I have to do to get through the change? And from that moment, I say, okay, I think we lost Bri for good. Okay, so from that moment, I say, okay, what is the next step? The next step is truly moving into the energy of it. So how do you move into the energy of it? You literally, all things, I teach the quantum world. And so I believe that there's an infinite field of possibilities. You tap into the energy of whatever it is. You understand that somebody is already in that, has done already what you want to do, right? So you choose somebody that wants to or is already doing what you're doing. So say, for example, I'm just going to use Oprah because I love Oprah. I love what she does in this world. I want to be humanitarian at the level of Oprah, right? And so I would think about Oprah's characteristics. Oh, Oprah's back. Guess who's back? Back again.
You have Wi-Fi.
So I'm talking about moving into the energy of it now, Bri, and I'm talking about how I was using Oprah as an example, right? So I would emanate what she does. I go into a meditative state so your brain understands, okay, now it's time to do the work. And then I would say, Oprah shows up every single day, right? What does she do to show up every single day? She makes a difference. Her life is based on service. She works very hard, but she loves what she does. And and I move into the energy of it, right? And so that's the final stage is when your soul knows that you're supposed to change your identity, and your soul knows that you have to get rid of all the archetypes that are not working anymore. You have to merge with the energy, right? So I'm gonna push this on you because I know you know it. and so let's talk about merging with the energy and how that in the physical world, and this is not woo-woo, guys, this is pure science. We are all energy, right? Merging with the energy of something to become the manifestation, to become real.
Yeah. Well, and like if you use Oprah, for example, like, so you want to emanate her, you want to be and have these same feelings. Like you see Oprah on stage and you see her and you're like, I want to feel the way she feels. She looks like she's so in her power. So you just have to like study these people that you want to be like, and like do the things that they do, and you'll start to connect to that feeling, and you can feel it just like anyone. When you look at them, it's their aura, it's their energy, it's their presence. So you look at that and you want to be that. You feel it. You sit and you visualize it and you meditate on it and you connect with it, in other dimensions, or however you want to look at it, because not everybody's going to know what we're talking about, but it's really just connecting with it. Like you can create the feeling within you, any feeling you want. So if you look at someone that you looked up to and you say, I know that they must feel strong and empowered, and just write a list of all the characteristics of how they feel every day, and you sit and you just feel those things, and you can create that in your own reality just by creating the feeling within you, right?
Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. And so to go even a little bit further on that, just into the quantum world, is that you merge with the energy of it. You can actually have communications with the other energies, right? And so I have conversations with Steve Jobs. I have conversations with, just as if I were having a conversation with you, right? Because everything happens in the energetic field before it happens in your reality. And that's deep into the quantum, but just in the simplest terms, it's how do you feel? And Esther Hiss says this all the time. You can't get there from there. So if fear and faith is at the same exact vibration, but you're at one end of the vibration, you can't get there from the space, right? So you start to emanate you start to study them, you start to feel them, you start to go into their energy, you have a conversation with the energy of what you want. But here's the biggest thing. From that point, you have to see where you're feeling. Are you feeling resistance? Do you feel contracted, or do you feel expanded when you're going into the energy, right? When I stepped into Noelle Agape, at first, I was like, oh, yay, right? And then it was like, oh, crap. Oh, my God, I got to be a TV host. I got to be in national television. I got to talk about quantum world on national television. And it was like, right? So do you feel when you tap into that energy, do you feel expanded or do you feel contracted? That is the biggest key of where you are. Let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, and I think it's going to be a mixture of both. Anything's new and exciting, and oh my gosh, so expansive, let's go do it, like you said. But then when the reality sets in, and you're like, oh shit, am I ready for this? It's scary, and then that's what's showing you that's what's showing you exactly what you have to work through, right? Just like you said. So it doesn't mean let's back up and like not do it. It means step into that fear, work through it, and that's what's going to get you where you're trying to go.
Yeah, go Bri, go. I love that so much. Is just that stepping into the fear as opposed to resisting it, right? And so fear, let's talk about fear and identity, because fear of losing people, fear of becoming someone else, fear of losing yourself, fear of success, fear of failure. Let's talk about fear, because fear, I say, is false evidence and not appearing real. But let's talk about the depth of the paralyzing fear for some people, right? You and I are crazy. We're like, okay, we're going to jump off a cliff. Okay, yay, let's go. And so we're like a little bit fearless. And we do the same thing with business. We're like, oh shit, we have no idea what we're doing, but okay, let's go. Woo! And we jump in, right? So we have the opposite approach, and sometimes that's bit us in the ass quite a few times, but it's probably better than being in the contracted energy. So let's talk about how fear is paralyzing. We have about 1 minute left that you can do this, because then we're going to close.
Yeah, well, fear and discomfort kind of really go hand in hand, right? And I say this a lot when talking about business or just anything in life, that you almost need to live in a constant state of discomfort to constantly be growing. You need to constantly be pushing yourself past those limits, past those fears. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stuck in the same place. And if you want to expand, which is what we keep talking about, you have to constantly be pushing through those barriers to the next phase. And that means pushing through that fear, stepping into that discomfort, and constantly pushing yourself to the next level. Because if you don't, you're going to stay stagnant. You're not going to expand, and you're probably going to sit around wondering why you're not happy. So you gotta push through the uncomfortable things to get to the other side, and that's where it's all butterflies and rainbows. Well, not always, but it will be when you push yourself to the next one, right? So it's that constant growth factor, right?
And guys, if you need help, if you need support, please go to noelleagape.com, because we have coaches on staff. We have free meditations. We have free activations for you. We have things that will change your life to help you face that fear. If you want to go even deeper and you want to face fears with us in adventure, in meditation, in the quantum world, in the mind-body connection, mind, body, soul, and spirit, you can come on our retreat. Bri, you have about 1 minute to talk about our retreat. Let's talk a little bit about the retreat. Literally, you've got about 1 minute.
This is our first retreat we're doing together, which is why I'm so excited, because we're really merging everything that we do together, which is an experience I think most people have never had. Most retreats, I think, are just yoga or just more of a meditation. We're literally doing everything. We're doing mind, body, soul, adventure, activations with the energy and the quantum. It's going to be a little bit of everything. So there's nothing else to say. Just come. You won't regret it. Is the bottom line.
And Tulum is an energy vortex. We felt we were both super had a lot going on with work. We both have a lot of different businesses and a lot of things. We were crazy. We've never been more centered in our life. From Tulum, we came back. We were activated. We were centered. We were dialed in. We want to take you on that journey too. Join us. I promise you, we will change your life, guys, and you will change your your life, and we will just guide you to it. The greatest gift that you could bring yourself is you, and know that you are more powerful than you will ever know. Guys, if this resonated with you, please like and share and subscribe. Join us on our YouTube channel. Join us on E360 TV. We are live every single week. We're here to change your life. Our entire goal is health, wellness, and consciousness. We're tapping into a higher realm. We're getting you to the greatest versions of yourself. Again, go to noelleagape.com for free activations, meditations, our YouTube channel, the E360 TV. There's so much free stuff for you and so much value for you. You are so powerful. You are more powerful than you will ever know. Final thoughts, Bri?
The link below for the retreat. It's going across the screen. If you guys want to know more about the retreat, that's where you go.
We love you guys, and you are more powerful than you will ever know.